Yo, what is up, guys? Everybody that's not tuned in yet, but for the people that are watching, we're Rocka here once again with another record on Review Recordings, Nighthawk, which has been released yesterday, 2 days ago, I guess. It's Wednesday now. So, or whenever you're watching, I don't know when you're watching this, but got a new record on Review Recordings, which means another studio session where I will explain how I made the track. I'm gonna start out first with just playing the radio edit, just real quick for just waiting until everybody is tuned in, and after that I will demo the first drop of the trap VIP that I did today. If you haven't watched it, you can check out the Instagram stories of Review Recordings. You can see how I made that one. So let's just play the record now. So. If anybody has any questions already, you can just ask them now, because I'm watching all the comments right now. So yeah, if you have any comments on if you can't understand me, or if the sound is too loud or too low, just send a comment and I will try to fix it. So yeah, that was the radio edit, and now a sneak preview of the trap remix that I did today. So here we go. World premiere today, right now, the trap VIP of Nighthawk. It's only the first drop because that's the only part that I have finished today. So that's my only first drop. yeah, that is the trap remix that I did today. I'm gonna finish it one of these days. So yeah, then the second drop will also be remixed into the trap VIP. So let's start off with explaining the project of Nighthawk, the original mix. So I'm gonna start out just like my other videos that I did on my other live videos. I'm gonna start out with the intro, after that the drop, then the second drop, and after that the break, because I've made the break and the drop into separate projects. So this is the intro. It's a pretty simple intro. It's actually one of the first that don't have the like the flanger pitchy stuff. So basically it's a kick, just the kick, a snare, which is actually the snare of Break the House Down by Kill the Buzz, the hardware edit, and I don't know if you can hear it, but it's just a basic noise that's layered with the kick. This one is a FX, just for like mixing purposes, and a regular loop. That's pretty much the intro. After that we got another downlifter, this one. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the intro. After the first 8 bars, the kick will get mixed with the like the sub bass, and I'll show you. It's exactly the same sub bass that I've used in Blackbird, which is just a regular sine wave. This one you can't really hear it because my iPhone microphone doesn't really pick it up, but it's just a regular, like a clean sine. And on top of that, we have a amplitude modulated sine wave, that just one sine wave modulates the other one. Sounds like that. I don't know if you can hear it, but I can show you how what it looks like. If we would open up an Edison, like you can see, hopefully. This is what the waveform looks like. It's just an amplitude modulated sine wave, just to give like for the people that don't really have like the big subwoofers and don't really hear like the clean sine wave, the lowest sine wave. I've added this one just to just so you can hear the sub bass on like smaller systems also. So that's what gets, like after the first 8 bars gets added. It looks like this. This is the progression of the bass notes. They are all different lengths, and that's also what really makes the bass line of these kind of tracks, is that the sine wave, the lowest sine wave, the sine wave that you hear on the big systems, goes on sometimes longer and sometimes shorter than the top layer of the sine wave, and just it gets some pretty interesting effects. So yeah, that's the bass line that's starting at the after the first 8 bars. The cool thing about this is if you use a lot of FL Studio plugins, is that you can use the slide node. I don't know what it's called. It's called the slide node, which is this one. You can see it from the little triangle here. It's kind of like Portamento, but it's just that the length of the slide node determines the Portamento time, which can create some interesting effects, especially for bass lines. Because if you would use Portamento for this, you would have one set of like predetermined time of portamento time instead of a variable time that you can adjust with the length of the note. So that's pretty cool for if you use FL Studio stock plugins. And after the bend, like the bend of the sine wave, it's empty because this part is filled with two sub kicks that go with like the super softs in the drop, but I'll come back to that later. So yeah, that's pretty much the intro. The only thing that you get is the mid bass line and some more percussion and a uplifter. And that's really what gives the groove. Like the bass line really gives that bouncy groove in this track. And because if you would mute the percussion and the bass line, it sounds really static. As you can hear, it's pretty basic, and if you only add the percussion and like the kind of Latin bobbling reggaeton, I don't know what you want to call it, but that groove, it really makes it bounce, and combined with the swing that's on this track, it really makes the whole track come to life. So that's pretty much it for the intro. After that, we got the first build up. These consist out of a lot of different elements, which it consists out of a high cut it, like of the drop lead gets automated to like the filter gets automated, a snare, regular snare, dubstep snare from one of the Vengeance packs, I believe. After that, we got a sine wave. This is a regular sine wave because you probably can hear it, but it's to support the kind of hardstyle side. It's not really hardstyle kick, but it's hardstyle inspired type of kick. It sounds like this. Oh wait, the filter's still on. Let's turn off the filter. So that's like the hardstyle type kick. Also gets filtered out, and the automation, the filter gets automated. So and we got a super saw with a pitch automation, which is just a really basic super saw. Nothing special going on here. And all those things together combined make up the build-up. The original build-up also had a vocal sound, but that vocal was from another track, and I don't know if I could clear it or and in the end it also didn't fit the whole track. It was this one. For the people that know, it's a switch, a bit patchy. It sounds like this, but in the end I decided it doesn't really match like the whole track, so I left it out. After that, we get the first drop. So I'm getting a lot of questions about the sub bass, the bass, the mid bass, and my mastering process. I will do the mastering process at the end because for the last like 7 tracks that the last 3 or 4 tracks that I did, I always did a stem mastering. So I route all the instruments to respective buses, export those buses, and then do a stem mastering. So I will come to the mastering process at the end. Let me just look for more questions. Processing chains, effects, leads. So yeah, I'm gonna show you I'm gonna start out with the sub bass like that I explained just now, but in some more detail, because there are a lot of layers, like insanely, like really a lot of layers for the bass line. The main lead is just one lead. That's pretty much it. But the bass line are like 6 or 7 leads, like combined together. So we got the kick. It's a kick I sampled from another electro track. Then we have a Nexus, which is a kind of like a mid bass. So that's that. And then we got a Serum. Let it just load. Oh, there we go. Sounds like this. Or it doesn't sound like it. Here we go. That's that. And those two make up the initial bass line. Sounds like this. They also follow the melody of the main lead. And after that we got the sine wave that I just explained, the amplitude modulated sine wave. And on top of that we have a just a kind of like percussion sound. This one, it's actually a kick. This one, it's from Congo Rock, Minerals, Congo Rock, and Nom de Strip, I believe. I don't remember it. But just cut off the end, like this is the original one. Cut off the end and a filter, low pass, high cut. Just to it supports the groove of the whole track. So that's what that does. And then we have it's pretty much the wow preset from Spire, just the wow, I don't know, like the deep house, future house thing. And that's also contributing to the whole rhythm of the track. And all those things together pretty much make the bass line of the track. So that's pretty much the mid bass and the bass line. After that we have the main lead. Oh. Let's just turn off the filter. Filter. Which one is the filter? Let me just look which one is the build-up filter. Well, anyways, that's the lead. Leads like the synth. It's this one, but pretty much the most of the sound is really made. Again, like every other sound of my tracks is really a lot of post-processing. So it's still on song mode. Let me just change that. You hear a phasing effect. That's because I've used a bus for the reverb on this one. So the original sound is this, and I'll add all the plugins one by one and explain a little bit how it's used. All right, let's turn this one off. So that's the original sound. Then we have a OTT, which is pretty much the basic preset. Haven't changed much except boosting the mids a little bit. That compresses the sound, because I don't know if you can hear it on via my iPhone speakers or iPhone microphone, but it adds like a little bit of a attack to the synth. It really makes it like snap out of the speakers. Then we have a Pro Q, really mild EQ, because the EQ is set to 3 decibels. So if you would look at it from 12 dB, it's just a little bit of EQing. So all those two together sound like that. Then a wave shaper. This is a pretty cool technique I use to make. It's kind of like exciting the high end of a track. It's kind of like an exciter, like the Ozone uses. It's pretty much the same effect, but what this does, like the wave shaper, well, maybe I can show it to you real quick. Let it load. All right. If you look at a regular sine wave, let's let's open up a spectrometer. Again, this the spectrometer that I use is just a volume shaper with with the beat sync to 4x4. So let me just open up this one. To a sine wave, so you can see the regular sine wave now. So if I add a wave shaper to it, you can see what the wave shaper does to the the signal. Like what you see here is basically distortion. How distortion works is if you would boost this, you would pretty much shape how like the waveform looks like. And if you would turn on bipolar mode, you can change like apply effects to each phase of the sine wave. So if you would look at this, you can see that it looks like a distorted sine wave, and if you would drag this one down, you can see what it does to the signal. So that's pretty much what I use for the main lead, because I like the softer parts of the synth gets like muted out, and like the transients of the like the higher bits, like the higher volume parts of the synth gets like amplified, and I mix that with the original signal, so you get like you get really this edge to the synth. So after that, I add a blood overdrive so you can hear what it does to the sound. I don't know if you can really hear it, but it really adds a lot of character to the whole synth without using like a one knob plugin, because you can alter this one exactly the way that you want it to sound. So that's pretty much the wave shaper trick that I use. Some more EQing, really little bit of EQing, just because the wave shaper and the blood overdrive together really create some more low end like that, and you don't want that in your mix, so just cut it off. Then a master distortion. Really gives like a new type of sound to the synth. And after that, some more EQing, because like the distortion took away the mids of the sound. Added just to add it back. And after that, we go into the reverb, which is like the same like Rocka reverb that I used in most of my tracks. I've already explained it at Dance Fair and in my other video when I explained Blackbird. So if you want to know how this works, just check out that one. And that pretty much sounds like this. Because the way that this works is it ducks the original signal, like when the original sound is playing, it ducks the signal of the reverb, so you get more space in your mix, which means you can, if you would sum those two channels together, you can compress them even more without losing like the character of the reverb. So that's pretty much the lead on its own, because the lead and the reverb go to separate channels, and after that it goes like those two go into the synth bus, and they get saturated with the fat filter Saturn, just to like kind of mash those the main lead, the original signal, the dry signal, and the reverb signal together, just a little bit of saturation, just to make to glue those two together. So that's pretty much it for the lead. It sounds like this. And then we have, I've read some comments on YouTube or Twitter, I don't know where they posted it, but they asked, somebody asked how I made like the supersaw, like the effect of the supersaw at the end of each 4 bars. It's a pretty good ear for details. So let me just explain how I did that. It's about this. Let me just unmute this. That's the part, and it gets layered with two subkicks that follow the root note of the melody, which is, let me just unmute it, and this one. Those two, if you would mix those two together, it really gives this uplifting feeling to the whole track. So it's just a subkick mixed with a supersaw. So let me just mute the main lead. That's really it. So the supersaws are really not really much like really heavy processed supersaws. So there's pretty basic supersaws. It's just that if you would mix them with like the subkicks and the main lead, it sounds really big, because the thing is, the main lead fills up the mono, the center part of the track, and those supersaws fill in like the stereo image of the track. So when the supersaws come in, it sounds really wide, and then it goes back to the drop, like the mono type of things. Are you going to sidechain that? Yes. The leads, everything is pretty much sidechained. Also, the bass lines are sidechained because it needs to make room for the kick. So if you would just solo out these supersaws, let me just look. Like the processing is just one EQ and a stereo enhancer that really widens up the whole sound. It's pretty frowned upon to use the stereo enhancer, because stereo delays are not really good for if you would play your track in mono. But the only the reason that I use these these saws is for its stereo image. So if you play it at mono and it disappears, it doesn't really matter, because it only needs it only adds something to the stereo image. So yeah, that's pretty much the supersaws, and then we have the wobble bass at the first part of the first bar of the drop. Like every 4 bars, you get this. Just mute it. This sound, this one, and this. And this. So this is a Massive. I haven't used Massive in a long time, but it really fits this track. It's also like I use Massive also in Kingwood, like the first wobble of each bar in Kingwood is also Massive, and also again like with literally every other track that I did, the whole sound really comes alive in the post-processing stage. So if you would look at the chain, the FX chain of this this sound, sounds like this, looks like this. If I turn off everything, it sounds like the sound is really thin, doesn't really do anything, and it consists out of 2 layers. So let me just. This is the original signal. So first off, a phaser. You don't really hear it now, but in the end you really hear the effect of the phaser. After that, a limiter, which literally doesn't do anything except for the gate, because the limiter itself doesn't really do much, because after that it goes into an OTT. Sounds like this. The reason that I use the gate of the limiter is because it gets distorted in the end, like after 2 more effects, it gets distorted, and when you have like a lot of distortion, you can hear these artifacts at the end of the sound. Because let me just, it doesn't really, you don't really hear it for this one, But you know, like if you turn on the OTT, you don't really hear it. But if you would amplify it, you could hear it. It sounds like this, like the little sound that you hear. That's pretty much the artifact of multiband compression and after that distortion. So that's why I added the limiter. And we got some EQing, pretty heavy EQing. Makes the mids pop out the speakers. And after that, some overdrive and a volume shaper for sidechain Edison, just to record the things, but doesn't really do anything in terms of sound. And on top of that, we have another massive that makes this sound. And yeah, those two sounds get meshed together and make up the whole, like the gritty bass line, the gritty wobble in the drop. So all those things together sound like this. And after that, it's just some more percussion, claps. That one, the noise from the intro, and some effects like crashes and downlifters, claps. That's pretty much it. And then we have the super sauce. That's that. And that's pretty much for the first drop. What really makes the first drop. And after the first drop, we have the transition into the break. Sounds like this with the filter, which is a wow filter. The same filter that I used in Blackbird. Does the LFO of the main lead. And after that, we got the second drop. Sounds like this. It's pretty much the same as the first one, but a different rhythm. So build-up is a bit different. You don't have this main synth in the build-up, in the second build-up. So that's the second drop. The only thing that's different is the rhythm of the main lead. And after that, it's like the one other difference is the way that the bass line works. Is it's a little like a subtle difference. Is the Serum uses a different time frame for the wobble. Like this is the only thing that's different, and it gives some more space to the main lead, just to make it sound like less cluttered in the final mix. And after that, like the second drop also has this kind of bubbling second drop, which is this. That is the lead. Everything is the same. The only thing that's added, like the bass line and the kick, are removed. I've added this one, this kick. And this this percussion is from these old school bubbling dancehall kind of loops. Because it's actually from a sample from way back. Let me see, like this one. The sample itself actually comes from 2003. It's a really old sample. It's a 14-year-old sample, but it sounds like this. It's the same. I believe it's the same sample that DJ Snake used in Lean On, and all these poppy songs really use this rhythm. And that's like this sound, this little sound. That's pretty much this sound, but it's EQ'd a little bit more and has some more distortion on it just to make it fit inside of the mix. And on top of that, we have the bubbling snares from Chucky's Party Crasher. Yeah, that's right. It's one of the Dembo loops. All those things, like the drums together, sound like this. Let me just see which track. So that's really what gives the groove of the like the second part of the drop. Also, I've added a like the main lead is transposed 1 octave up. So that, and after that it goes 1 octave down, just like the first part of the track, and like all those things together really make up the second part of the drop. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the drops. If there are any questions regarding the drops, you can ask them now. But if not, I will just go through with the break. Are you Trini? No, I'm not. I'm not from Trinidad. I'm Dutch. I was born in the Netherlands, but my parents are from Suriname. So I don't know if you know it, but I'm originally from Suriname. So that's why I look like this. So I don't think there are any questions regarding the drop anymore. All the questions I get now are already I've already explained those. So after I go live, you can rewatch the video for regarding the bass lines. Can we see the mixer and the mixer effect for the drop? Oh yeah, I totally forgot to show the mixer effects for the bass line, because the bass line always have a lot of effects on them. Just to make room for the whole lead. It has a Pro Q, this one, a Devaster for some distortion, because without it, it would sound like this. It would sound really bass house, and I don't really. It sounds really electronic, and I want it to sound more not really organic, but less electronic. So I added a filter. The Devaster really does the trick for the sound, and then some more EQing and a blood overdrive. So that's the bass line, like the effects on the bass line of like one bass line, and the other bass line is pretty much the same. Pretty much the same thing goes on there, but with a different original signal. So it's just to support the bass line, the other sounds of the bass line. Okay, how do I make my side chains? My side chains are always when I make like 4 to the floor type tracks, always just volume shapers, because you can really manipulate the sound exactly the way that you want it, and exactly where you want to cut the signal from. So pretty much volume shaper, and when I'm making like trap type of beats, anything that isn't 4 to the floor, I use a limiter or automation triggering, like with a MIDI. If you have a MIDI out, you route the MIDI out to all the MIDI ins of volume shapers, and every time you trigger the MIDI out of like the effects rack, it'll duck the signal of all the synths that have a volume shaper on it. So that's how I use that. How did I get signed to Revealed? Well, it's actually a pretty long time ago. I had a song that Hardwell was playing, and he wanted to play it. He hit me up on Twitter asking me if I could send that track. I sent it to him, and we went back and forth with new tracks, and eventually he signed Gate 9 to the Talent EP. So that's pretty much how I got signed to Revealed. The master, I'm doing the master in after the break because it's done in a separate project. A question in Dutch. Welke samples en packs gebruik je vooral? Most of my packs, like pretty much most of the samples that I use are from my own pack. It doesn't really exist at the moment, but I haven't released it or shared it with anyone. But I have kind of a sample pack that I've been making over the years with some kicks that I've sampled and samples from other packs that sound really good. So that's the sample pack that I use. That one, like my own one, and a lot of Cashmere and Jordy Daz Splice Sounds samples, because those sound pretty good too. So those are the sample packs that I use. How do I make the kicks sound powerful? That's a pretty simple one, because I really don't, because the kicks on its own, like I sample the kicks from other tracks. The kick itself, like the original kick, is already pretty powerful. The only thing that I did on this one is I routed it to another track. As you can see, this is the original signal of the kick. It goes into this one, and it has a multiband compressor and a wave shaper just to clip the sound and just compress it. So that's pretty much what I do then for the kick. What's the name of the library you showed us, the DJ Snake sample? It isn't a library. I don't even know if it's still on the internet somewhere. But the loop that I just showed you is a loop from way back. I've had it for like years now, and I don't know where I got it from. So you could search the internet for like bubbling loops, but I don't know if they're still online. Do you use stereo separation and panning for the stereo field? That's a very good question. I don't use a lot of stereo shaping because it isn't natural. I only use it for like the super sauce, like the drop super sauce, these ones. Those I use stereo separation, but most of the time it's just if you would take a look at the main lead, you can see this one is the unison, and with the detune really makes the stereo like the stereo image of this one. And most of my tracks are pretty mono, so I don't really use those other plugins for stereo excitement or stereo separation, that kind of stuff. If you cut all the low frequencies of a lead, do you need sidechaining? That's also a good question. It doesn't really matter because, like from a technical point of view, it doesn't really do much. But it's just the sound that people are used to, of like the pumping sound of the lead, and that's what really makes the track really energetic. So it's not to create room in your mix, but it's just for the effect itself. The sidechain, if you would cut the low end of the synths, because in pop music, most pop tracks, they don't have sidechain on the main leads. They just play over the kick because it's pop music. Let me look. Alright, those are all the questions regarding the drop. pretty good questions, so thank you for those. Let me just open up the break real quick. Let me close out of FL Studio, because like this project is a super big project in terms of synths and processing within the project, so it really takes a long time to even close FL Studio, as you can see. Alright, let me load up a new FL Studio. There we go, and open up the break. Alright, it's loading. Did you turn on the swing? Yes, I've used a lot of swing on this track, but that's really the thing that gives this track really that bouncy feeling. How much layer of lead do you need? There's not a predetermined amount of leads. Just add leads until it sounds good. For this one, like the main lead is just one lead, and the bass line consists out of 6 or 7 sounds. So just use what you need and stick to that. All right, so this is the break. I'm going to do it like layer for layer. The first layer is this one, which is a Rode. It's a jazz instrument used in like the 90s or 80s, I don't know when, but it's a free plugin for everybody to download. It's called Mr. Ray, and that's this sound. It's just like the basic preset that you hear, and the melody that it plays is it's getting strummed, so that's the effect of the the velocity that's changing. That really makes the sound too, because if everything would be the same velocity, it would sound like this. Let me just try to, because I'm holding my iPhone in one hand, but I know I can really do it. But like the velocity really gives make this effect stand out. And I've only used the first 4 bars because the last 4 bars don't really sound good in this plugin. So that gets layered with this silent. And that's really like a preset. It's a wobble. The original preset doesn't have that wobble, but I added that to it because it has this. It gives this cool atmosphere to the whole break. And then we have this sound. That's inspired from I don't know if you know this track. It's from Rihanna. It's Needed You, I guess. It's like the intro has this type of sound, and it really fitted this break, so I decided to add that to this. I've got another question. Do you separate the break and the drop in different projects? Yeah, I mostly always do that because I use a lot of plugins in both the drop and the break, so it makes more sense to separate those two just to spare some CPU, because if you have both of the break and the drop in the same project, even when it's isn't being used, the effects on a synth still consume CPU power, so I always separate those two. So, and there are some more chords like the Supersaw with a reversed reverb that does the effect, like the pumping effect of the reverb. And then the main lead, like the brake kicks in, filtered of course, and that filter is also being automated. Sounds like this. I've got a yeah, my house is still shaking. Yeah, so I've got another question. How do you glue the brake and the drop together? I will show that after I show the full brake, because in the mastering process I glue those two together. So let me just finish off the with the brake. Also, after the first 8 bars, the shaker plugin, the shaker sample gets added. Only the first beat of this sample really fills in the highs. And that's the fill for the first drop of the drop of the brake. It's this one. This and this also, like again with all my other leads, the sound really gets made in the post-processing, because without it, it sounds like this. It's really dull. And with all the plugins, it sounds like this. And pretty much what it is, it's a limiter, again for the noise gate. Overdrive, a little bit of overdrive for some mid distortion. The OTT, this one really makes the sound. This one and the other multiband compressor really make the sound. And like those two really make the drums stand out of the mix. And we got some more reverb. But this reverb isn't really much, because it's very lightly, just to get some roomy drums. Otherwise it would sound way too dry. Waar heb je het allemaal geleerd? Op YouTube. Another question in Dutch. I've learned everything that I've known now pretty much by just experimenting and pretty much learn myself everything. And mostly synthesis was learned from YouTube. So like pretty much everything that I know is just self-taught. When do you know when in your track something is missing, like effects or layers? A really good question, but I really can't answer that one, because it's just experience, I guess. After making so much tracks, and listening to so many tracks, you kind of get this feeling for when something is missing, or when something needs another layer or some other instrument to fill it up. So I would say just experience. So yeah, the drop part of the break sounds like this. So that is a square lead. This one is a square lead. And this is just a really regular basic square lead. It doesn't really have much effects on it. Just some EQing, but it's not really EQing, it's just filtering. So after that we have the Super Sauce with the sidechain reverb, but again really doesn't do much except some mild EQing and reverb, just the mids a little bit, and cutting off the low part. And then we have the bass line. And this one isn't sidechain, but the sound design on its own is pretty much a sidechain, because as you can see, the envelope of the volume really makes room for the kick. Like in this part, the kick hits. So if you would layer those two together, it doesn't clash. What's your chain for the bass and the melody? Another question. It's a saw wave, actually. This one is the saw wave, the 3 times oscillator. And on top of that is a Maximus, some overdrive and some EQing. The Maximus compresses the low and just cuts off the mid and the high. Sounds like this. Oh, let's activate it. So that really makes a sound. And then we have the blood overdrive. Adds this like this edge to the sound, and then that is cut it away just to make like the sound more clean. So that's the like the FX chain on the bass of the break. And that's pretty much it for the break part. If anybody has any questions for the break, you can ask them now, and if there aren't any questions, I will proceed to the mastering part. This kick, it's the against all odds kick by Dyro. This one. And I saw like a lot of questions about parallel compression from the same person. I don't use parallel compression at all in my tracks, so I couldn't really comment on that one. But it's pretty basic. It's just you route one original signal to two different buses and compress them individually and sum them up afterwards. So that's pretty much it. How does this lead slide? That's a pretty good question, because I use 2 separate synths, like the same synth but duplicated into two different portamento times, because the first one is pretty quick. This is the lead, and the first one is like this, as this value set for the portamento time, and the second one has a little bit less. So I switched between those two for the main sound. And the method that it's used for sliding is just mono 4. It's the 1-2 that is just like only one note is playing, and the second note that gets triggered is the sliding note, so it slides to that note. So that's pretty much it for the break. So if there aren't any questions, any more questions, I will just proceed with the mastering part. If you have one moment, let me just open up FL Studio again and open up the project, the mastering project, mix on and master. So the thing I usually do is just route all the synths that are used and all the drums and all that stuff to different buses and export those buses to separate files, and then import those again into FL Studio, and it'll look something like this. And this is also when where I mix the break with like the drop project. So it'll look like this. Everything is routed to its own FX rack, like I don't know what it's called, like the FX rack from FL Studio. It'll look like this. Another question from like regarding the break. How much time for making the break, even if I know it depends on your inspiration at the moment? The break, I will come back to that after I explain the master. So just remind me to check that out. So the master is pretty straightforward. It's a limiter, like the first limiter. This one, I got 2 limiters. This limiter is just for volume automation, just for the build up. It ducks the signal a little bit, and after that is another limiter that lowers the volume before it goes into the multiband compressor, just so that it doesn't really like distort the sound. And in the mastering process, I also mix down the synths, the leads, and the bass lines all independently from each other, so it sounds really tight. And after that, it goes into one master, which is like the two limiters I just told you, and then we have a multiband compressor, the Maximus. I really love this plugin. It really makes the whole sound, because if I would turn it off, it would really lower the sound. This really makes the sound come alive at the mastering stage. And also for the master, I have to boost like a lot of like 500 hertz and 200 hertz, because my room, I have to compensate for my room. Like my studio isn't really that much of a studio, because it's just an attic room. And I haven't really applied a lot of acoustics in this room, so I have to compensate for that and boost a lot of low end of my track. So that's the Pro Q, and after the Pro Q, you get the Pro L, just to like cut off all the transients and make it make it clip at 0 dB. You need to another question from the chat. You need to export all the parents. I don't know which word it is, but I think you mean like separately from each other, or is there an easy way? No, I route all of my my sounds to independent buses, and like in FL Studio, if you would like kind of say for instance like this is your synth, you can route it to this one, and let's say this one is another synth, you can also route it to that one, and this one also, and all of these channels that you just routed to this one, like this channel, you can click here, this knob, this button, click it, and it will arm the recording, and after that you can go here, this recording, and run it to WAV files, and it'll separately record all of the like the channels that you selected. It will render those at the same time, so you don't have to render them one after another. So that's the way that I do it. So that's pretty much it regarding the master, because the master is this, and after that it's just this sound is the end of the drop, and I extended that to make it fit with the break, and I added a little tiny kick to it, just to glue the drop part and the break part together. So that's pretty much it for this project. In general, how much time it takes for you making the different parts of my track? If you do it as one job, of course, how long are your studio sessions? Well, I don't do it in one take. I have like different takes for each part of the track, like the drop and the break. But I made this drop in like 30 or 40 hours total, and the break, I have to look at it like in a minute. I'll check that out in a minute. And the mastering is 4.5 hours, like you can see here. So pretty much like all those. If I have like the time of the how long I spent on the break, I can give you a definite answer. So why did I cut the low part? This low part is the 20 hertz. You don't really hear it, and it doesn't really do much, so I just decided to cut it. I cut it off all of my tracks, just as a habit, because like other DJs, when I was still like learning everything, other DJs told me, other producers told me to always cut your low end, so that's pretty much why I do it. I don't have really any reason for it. Do you automate the tempo in your tracks? Nope, I don't really do it. Only like for the trap VIP that I showed you in the beginning of the video. I'm probably going to do a transition track, so I will use tempo switches in that one, but in this track I haven't used it in the break or anything. Another question, what are your PC properties, like processor, RAM? I'll show you. I have a self-build, like this is my computer, this one. It's in a silent case. It has like acoustic panels inside of it, just to dampen the noise that gets from the processor. Because I have water cooling inside of this one. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the computer itself. And the processor that's in it is a Intel Core i7 5820K. It's the 6-core processor with 12 threads. As you can see right here, let me just say logical. Those processors here. You can see I have 12 threads that pretty much, not really, but they are kind of like 12 cores, but they share the I believe it's the floating point processor, like the floating point bus. They share it across cores, but in the end, it's pretty much 12 cores. So it's one of the best CPUs of Intel at the moment. So that's the one that I use, and I overclocked it to 4 gigahertz. So when the load gets really high, it goes to 4 gigahertz. Like you get 6 cores running at 4 gigahertz. I guess that's pretty much it. Because all the other questions that are getting asked I already like explained those. So I guess that's pretty much it. Like, can you show the time structure for the intro, build up, drop, and the break? Yeah, sure. It isn't really that important, but the first part is, let me see, 45 seconds. The intro is 30 seconds. The build up is 15 seconds. The intro is 45 seconds. The build up, the first build up is 15 seconds. So 1 minute it drops. And then we have the drop for 45 or 30 seconds. 30 seconds in this time. Then we have like the transition into the break for another 15 seconds. Then we have the break for 1 minute, I guess. Let me look. Yeah, almost 1 minute. It's 45 seconds also. Then we have another 15 seconds for the build up, and then the drop, which is the same as the first one. So those are the time structure for the intro, build up, and drop. Are you always mastering with your KRK monitors? No, I don't use my KRK monitors for mastering, because as you can see, like my studio, I only have like the high absorbers for the high end, just for the first reflections, but no bass traps. So my room sounds incredibly distorted in terms of low end. So I always use my headphones for those. Why don't I use Mac? Because I use FL Studio, and FL Studio doesn't work on Mac. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much it in terms of. I want to thank you guys all for tuning in, and I hope you guys learned something from this video. And yeah, I guess I'll see you the next time. Peace.